Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are said to be enjoying their lives as an independent family, having left the royal family in 2020. Makeup artist Daniel Martin spoke of his recent reunion with the Sussexes as they made an appearance in New York last month. He opened up on his recent work with the Sussexes, describing how relaxed they have been while going to various events. Mr. Martin told People magazine, "It was so much fun to have all of us back together again. It was chill and relaxed, like the gang was back together. Harry jokes around a lot, and Meghan is really funny. It was nice to have those belly laughs again. They are loving life as a family of four. They've struck a rhythm as a foursome." Harry and Meghan have been open about their struggles regarding their exit from the royal family. British writer Dame Hilary Mantel claimed in October 2020 that Meghan was too good to be true for the royal family, and hit out at the firm. She told Harper's Bazaar, "I think that Meghan was too good to be true. She was a smiling face in a dull institution, she cheered the nation up no end, or at least men and women of goodwill." Referring to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex TMS decision to step back as senior members of the royal family, she added, "I'm pleased that it TMS the marriage that TMS surviving and the connection with the monarchy that has to go, because I think almost all of us would have bet that if she left, she TMD have to leave alone. Though, none of us know the details of how this is going to work out." In May this year, Ms. Mantel also warned that the royal family is facing its endgame and won't outlast William. She told Telegraph Magazine that there is no legitimate public interest in broadcasting events such as pictures of royal babies leaving hospital for the first time. Ms. Mantel added, "I think it's the endgame. I don't know how much longer the institution will go on. I'm not sure if it will outlast William. So I think it will be their last big era. No other family would be expected to parade a very elderly, newly widowed lady before the TV cameras, and yet it's taken for granted that's what will happen, just as it's taken for granted that a new royal mother will appear beaming on the hospital steps within a day of giving birth. There's no legitimate public interest behind it." Prince Charles acknowledged the existence of conspiracy theories and how frustrating they can be as NHS staff and volunteers are tirelessly delivering as many booster jabs as possible to tackle the emergence of the Omicron variant. Speaking out against vaccine misinformation, the Prince of Wales said, "It is so frustrating, all these nonsense conspiracy theories." Charles took this stance against vaccine misinformation on Tuesday, as he was visiting a pop-up vaccination clinic in Kennington, London. At the Lambeth GP Federation COVID Vaccinations Walk-in Centre, housed in a church, Charles was able to see the work against time carried out by 127 vaccinators and 190 volunteers working shifts around the clock. The clinic has been administering 3,000 boosters a day, which is 300 an hour. Wearing a face covering, Prince Charles spoke to some of the people working at the vaccination centre, including former picture editor Kate Suter. Ms. Suter explained to the future king she trained 8 months to become a vaccinator. Following the royal visit, the vaccinator shared a light-hearted exchange she had with Charles. She said, "He said thank you for helping, and I joked that I had the gift of the jab, and he laughed and said I'm going to use that." While in Kennington, Prince Charles met some of the hundreds of people queuing up to get their booster jabs. Speaking to some of them, he said, "So many marvelous people have been volunteering. I am glad you didn't have to wait too long." And in a joint statement, the Prince and the Duchess urged Britons to follow their lead. They said, "We can only offer our most heartfelt thanks and congratulations to all the scientists, volunteers and workers across the NHS who have helped bring about this extraordinary achievement. And to all those who have not yet had the vaccine or are hesitating before getting a booster, we can only urge you to look at the evidence in our intensive care wards and listen to those who work there. People who are unvaccinated are at least 10 times more likely to be hospitalized or die than those who have had 2 vaccine doses. That is why we urge everyone to get vaccinated and to take up the booster, as we have done ourselves. Prince Charles isn't the first member of the royal family to openly speak about misinformation when it comes to vaccines. Meghan and Prince Harry have been vocal supporters of the COVID jab and have been campaigning since mid-2021 for vaccine equity. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have also spoken on multiple occasions about the importance of dismantling misinformation and falsity surrounding the jabs in order to allow people around the world to confidently get protected against COVID-19. In September, Prince Harry took part in the GQ Men of the Year Awards to present Professor Dame Sarah Gilbert, Professor Catherine Green and the Oxford/AstraZeneca team one of the gongs. In his speech, he blamed mass-scale misinformation for COVID vaccine hesitancy, saying, "Less than 2% of people in the developing world have received a single dose at this point. And many of the healthcare workers are still not vaccinated. We cannot move forward together unless we address this imbalance as one." At the same time, families around the world are being overwhelmed by mass-scale misinformation across news media and social media, where those who peddle in lies and fear are creating vaccine hesitancy, which in turn leads to divided communities and eroding trust. This is a system we need to break if we are to overcome COVID-19 and the risk of new variants. Prince Harry TM's announcement about the release of his memoir has reportedly sparked concerns within the royal family. Prince Charles, 73, who is the heir apparent, wants his sons to support and emphasize his position and how good a king he would be. Expert Richard Eden claimed the Prince of Wales should brace for further comments from Prince Harry that could undermine his image. Jessica King, the host of Palace Confidential, asked, "Do you think that as said this is sort of chipping away at Charles's credibility? I mean, could it get worse?" Mr. Eden said, "I feel really sorry for Prince Charles. The Queen was always going to be an extremely hard act to follow and there'd been plenty of doubts about Prince Charles as king. He needs his sons to be supporting him and emphasizing what a good monarch he would be, and instead he has Harry launching these brickbats from across the Atlantic. I think this statement was definitely part of that, and I think there'll be worse to come. I do worry genuinely, I think that's an overstatement." He added, "I really do worry that eventually Harry will come out, perhaps, after the death of his grandmother, and come out against the monarchy altogether." The Duke also claimed that the Prince of Wales stopped answering his calls ever since he stepped down from his position within the royal family. Author Robert Lacey, in his new book Battle of Brothers, analyzed the fragile relationship between Prince Charles and Prince Harry. Mr. Lacey said, "The media explanation of why Charles had stopped taking Harry TM's calls was all about money. The long-suffering father was apparently tired of being treated like a cash dispenser, as one royal source put it, but there were more profound issues at stake." Prince Charles has reportedly decided to slim down the monarchy by not extending the titles to Prince Harry TM's children that was once extended by George V since 1917. Mr. Lacey wrote, "In pursuing his own cause of the slimmed-down monarchy, Prince Charles had been making noises about limiting the number of HRHs created by George V TM's 1917 convention still further, thus cutting out Archie from his future princeship, and Meghan took that personally. Prince Harry expressed that he felt let down by his father and will try to heal the pain passed down to him genetically. He said, when it comes to parenting, if I've experienced some form of pain or suffering because of the pain or suffering that perhaps my father or my parents had suffered, I'm going to make sure I break that cycle so that I don't pass it on. It's a lot of genetic pain and suffering that gets passed on anyway, so we as parents should be doing the most we can to try and say, you know what, that happened to me, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to you." Trademark.